Hey guys, how's it going? So red flag laws are being introduced in the Michigan Senate soon, and this time they actually have a decent chance to pass. I'm going to explain why in just a second, but this is definitely a call to action for all of my fellow Michigan people. I'm from Michigan, and this is very important to me. And all of the rest of you guys from other states, if you guys don't mind sharing this too, because maybe it'll reach some more Michigan people, all of us would really appreciate your help in this too. So, Michigan people, you're going to need to contact your state representative, your state senator, the Senate Majority Leader, and the Speaker of the House. I'm going to leave links down in the description for all of that, including this article from MLive that I'm going to report from. And also, please share this video. Red flag laws. I'm going to basically explain in a little bit here what they are, but since I think a lot of you already know, this is basically one of the biggest ways to undermine our rights that are protected by the Second Amendment. These are our natural rights to keep and bear arms. And red flag laws literally violate not only the Second Amendment, but probably half of the rest of the Bill of Rights, and are just so unconstitutional in so many ways. But they've passed in other states. And they've been introduced to Michigan before, but this time it's not looking too good in my opinion. So you're going to need to call, you're going to need to write, and make awareness to all the people in Michigan that you possibly can. So these bills are going to be introduced soon, and they're going to be introduced in the Michigan Senate. Now look, I know what you guys are thinking. These have been introduced before. They never saw the light of day. Just hang with me. I won't be too long in this video, but I'm going to explain why you should be a little bit concerned this time. They're going to be introducing bills here soon. The bills aren't up yet, but we have bill numbers, and I will do a follow-up and keep you guys posted as this progresses. But we need to get in here and do a preemptive strike and start getting a hold of all of our elected public servants right away and tell them, stop, no, let's not even let this out of committee. So they're going to be introducing, the Democrats are, Senate Bills 856, 857, 858. You can reference those when you contact your reps and senators. It said the bills have not been formally introduced yet by their sponsors, which these are all Democrats: Senator Rosemary Bayer out of Beverly Hills, Erica Geis out of Taylor, Mallory McMorrow out of Royal Oak. And here's the kicker. These actually are going to see committee hearings because apparently the Republican Senate Majority Leader, because we have a rather narrow majority in the Michigan Senate and then also in the Michigan House, Senate Majority Leader Shirkey's agreed to let them have a committee hearing. And it says the Senate Republican leadership say the upcoming red flag bills will eventually see a hearing based on a promise made by leader Mike Shirkey, Republican out of Clark Lake, nearly 3 years ago. And it says it's unclear if previously introduced gun legislation will be included. So they're not ruling out having hearings on other things that the Democrats have tried to introduce in the past, in addition to these red flag laws. So here's an official quote from the spokesperson for Shirkey. It says, back in 2019, Shirkey promised Senator Bayer a hearing on her red flag legislation. It has always been the Senate Majority Leader's intent to honor that promise. So Bayer met with Shirkey just a couple days ago, on February 3rd. This is the Democrat Bayer that's writing these bills. To discuss the bills, she told MLive on Friday. And here's a quote from her. We did have a good discussion. I certainly did not get everything I asked for, but we are going to have a hearing on the red flag bills, Bayer said. In my opinion, Bayer probably wants to ban everything. That's usually what Democrats do nowadays. Adding that she thinks a committee hearing will come within the next month or so. Movement on gun-related legislation is long overdue, Democrats say. And they talk about we need to protect the children, we need to protect the women. This would have prevented different tragic events that would happen. And they also talk about a statistic from the CDC that found that in 2019, there were 39,707 firearms-related deaths in the United States. But what they don't tell you is, look, a lot of those are suicide, okay? But a lot of those are actually good people with a gun stopping a bad person with a gun, and people protecting themselves from imminent death, sexual assault, murder, things like that, which are considered justifiable to use force to protect yourself, loved ones, when you're in that imminent threat or danger. And there's actually way, way, way more good people who are saved every year with firearms. In fact, a lot of times there aren't police reports on it because the threat simply goes away when they present or fire the firearm. But it's up in the millions of lives that are saved with firearms, good people's lives. And that's why a lot of you carry firearms in your home, on your person, in your vehicles, throughout this state of Michigan, and throughout the United States, I would note. Well, there's almost 20 states now, they're saying, that have red flag laws throughout the country. And we don't know exactly what's going to be in this bill, but here's generally how red flag laws work. This is really, really scary. To sum it up, they call it take the guns first, then due process. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me either, because due process, no. You can't be deprived of your liberty or of your property, in this case both, without due process of law. That's written down in our founding documents. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, obviously. So here's generally how it works, and we could probably expect something very similar here. Okay? That's why you need to oppose these Senate bills 856, 857, 858. Let your elected public servants know that in the Senate and in the House, the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader. Links will be down there in the description. Because basically a family member is the way these are usually written, or even someone that you've cohabited with. This could be even an ex of yours, your ex-girlfriend, your ex-husband, wife. Yeah, you can only imagine how that would go, the way a lot of relationships end. Could red flag you and say you're either a threat to yourself or others. First they come and take your guns. A lot of times, you know, it's a pretty scary situation, and people have been killed during these red flaggings because somebody's just minding their own business. They're not committing any crimes. Someone they think is breaking in their house, and it's actually the police coming to confiscate their firearms, have pulled guns in self-defense only to be gunned down by the police. There's actually documented instances of this that have happened before, specifically one I can think of in Maryland, where somebody was red flagged. Now, they'll take the guns first, having what's called an ex parte hearing in front of a judge, meaning they go to the judge, put forth their evidence, you're a risk to yourself or others based on that person's word, their sworn affidavit of testimony. Basically a fancy way to say he said, she said in many instances. This could be because maybe the person's an actual threat. That could be the case sometimes. Or it could just be because someone has a bone to pick with somebody, or a fellow family member or ex or whatever is anti-gun. These things have happened before and are surely going to happen in Michigan if this passes. They have a hearing behind your back. You're not there to give your side of the story. The judge decides whether they want to issue it or not. They take all your guns. You're prohibited from purchasing firearms. Then you get to schedule a hearing after the fact to come back and defend your case, to defend yourself, tell your side of the story. And then if you win, you could get your gun rights back and get your firearms back. If you lose, there might be a period of time. It might be a year. We have to see the details on this. And then after that year, you could reapply again, but the person could come back and make another complaint. This is literally crazy. It's you losing your right to be secure in your effects and in your papers. It's you losing your right to due process, losing your right to keep and bear arms. And I would know, we already have laws on the books where if somebody's a direct threat to somebody else, you can already put a restraining order out on that person. And in most cases, that would prohibit them from being able to own firearms. And I know those are abused a lot of times too, but I'm just saying, we have suicide hotlines and help. People can be, in certain cases, involuntarily committed. And then they would actually lose their exercise of their gun rights that way, as adjudicated through the court of law. But these all have due process, where the person's presumed innocent, and it's the burden of the government to prove they're guilty in front of a jury of their peers. And then if they are proven guilty beyond any reasonable doubt, with the burden of proof put on the government, and the jury of their peers agrees. Sometimes there's appeals that you can do too, but when it's all said and done, sometimes people lose the freedom to exercise their rights. They don't lose their rights. Those are inherent and endowed by your creator, but they lose the ability to exercise those rights. We already have that. That's what due process is. That's what makes America different than other countries. But no, this is the opposite of that. This is, first they take your guns, take your ability to exercise your gun rights away. Then you can come back afterwards and prove your innocence to hopefully, possibly beg to get them back. That's in the gist of what red flag laws are. There's certain variations throughout different states, but that's generally what they are. And without being able to read the bills yet, I'm just speculating, but don't expect it to be a whole lot different than what I said. And again, this is in my opinion. But here's what is going on and what you guys need to try to stop. These Senate bills will be introduced. The Republican Senate Majority Leader is actually favorable of having hearings on them. Now, I don't know if he's favorable to voting himself for red flag laws or if he supports red flag laws. I don't know that yet, but he's certainly been made it known, according to quotes here from his spokesperson, as well as the Democrats that are quoted in this article, that he's definitely in support of having hearings on them. First, the bill has to be written, then it has to have a hearing, then it passes committee, then it can go for a floor vote in the Senate, and then it could go over to the House. There might be a companion bill, but the process is starting in the Senate, and the process of this law potentially passing is being supported by the Senate Majority Leader, Mike Shirkey. Don't know if he supports the bill or not, but he might if he's trying to get a hearing in committee. All right, guys. Let me know what you think and do whatever you can to share this and get the word out. All right, thanks for watching, and have a good one.